What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Chop and Brew. We are on the porch de Walton with the one and only
Brian Adams.
What kind of Brian Adams?
Badass Brian Adams.
Brian just came by really quick to tag some monarch butterflies that Elsa hatched before we released them to the wild. You apparently tag them, so if people find it, they can email and track it.
Yep, we release them, tag them on their journey to Mexico, and if people find them, they report it to University of Kentucky. And if they find one of yours, they send you a little not gift certificate, just a certificate telling you how far that butterfly flew.
It's a gift certificate so you can buy more butterflies.
Buy some more milkweed or something.
But what we're really here for is this homebrewer named Will has been sending me beer over the summer, and it's such a cool story how this dude got into brewing and how he brews that I've been sitting on these beers potentially way too long. So while we had Brian Adams, I was like, let's finally do this. So feel free to drink while I tell the story. This guy calls himself Hi Hat Brewing. You can basically see his adventures on Instagram at Hi Hat Brewing. Our left to right, we've got Mexican lager, kind of a Norwegian farmhouse, and an Imperial Coffee Stout.
Lager?
Mm-hmm. The first one is. So I met Will, he started sending me these beers, and I was stockpiling them to drink them. The cool thing about Will is he's been brewing only since January of this year. And and he went immediately in, all grain, brew in a bag for the most part. But the cool thing about Will is he travels for work. He lives in different cities other than his home in Arkansas for like weeks and months at a time. So he's kind of like this on-the-road brewer. So he keeps all of his stuff in a 50-gallon locked tote.
Wow.
Kettle, the cool brewing kind of lager fermentation bag, strainer, refractometer. He's basically a brewer on the go. So he dealing with different waters, dealing with different stuff. And he sent me 3 of these over the summer, and I was just like, this is an amazing thing. Like wherever he gets assigned, he drives there, takes all of his brewing equipment, documents his adventures. So not only is he less than a year in, but he's just kind of like this nomadic gypsy brewer based on wherever he happens to be living.
So whatever he brews, he's taking it with him as he travels. He's in a car.
He bottles a lot of time in these kind of PET soda bottles. But yeah, he said he started homebrewing away from home. So he's in Boston and he starts homebrewing. That's the only time he had to pay to ship his stuff back home. And then every time after that, once he gets his assignment, he just drives there. So
brews.
And brews.
Every time he goes somewhere, he brews.
Yeah. And we got some pictures that we're flashing here. He's a really fun documenter of his project. So the Mexican lager, like I said, he uses one of these cool brewing bags, which I didn't know about. It's essentially, it looks like a drum, like a bass drum zipper case. Apparently, I guess you put your fermenter there, and then you can kind of put frozen ice jugs around it, kind of Kisiani style, to do temperature fermentation.
Wow.
So this is only batch number 9, 4.9%, Vienna, Munich, chocolate malt, Willamette, Tettnang, Golding, and then a dry yeast.
I like it.
So this was sent to me when he was in Arkansas.
That's crazy.
Well, it's cool because the return address on each of these is different. He does these super cool little recipe sheets. Lays out kind of where he was and his method. I think this is really good.
It's very tasty.
I assume this was his first lager.
It's a little sweet, but then it dries out. It dries out in the side, in your gullet.
It's a lot of those Munich and Vienna-y things. Rich bread, dark bread.
And the sweetness goes away. I don't mean to say it's super sweet. Just initially it's got that sweetness, and then it just kind of dries out.
For a first lager and brewing on different kind of circumstances.
And nice carbonation.
He says he brew in a bag, single vessel. He builds water from distilled and treats his mash with lactic to hit optimal mineral content and pH. So he says he's the kind of guy that when he goes into a hobby, he dives in head first. So unlike myself, who's been brewing 10 years in November, who's never touched water other than pouring it out of a tap, he's dealing with that kind of stuff.
Wow, this is really tasty.
Yeah. This one I'm really intrigued by. So this one he calls Norwegian Peppercorn Farmhouse. It's 4.3% bottled in the middle of August. So it's just now about a month in bottles.
Okay.
Really cool 3-gallon batch. Pilsner, dark wheat, rye malt, dry hopped with Calypso, and 1.75 ounces of peppercorns. This is brewed with the Omega Voss Kavik strain. I'm not sure if I'm saying Kavik. There's a cool article about these Norwegian wild farmhousey strains in the most recent BYO. I would check that out because I tried to catalog a bunch of stuff so I could like regurgitate it like I know something. Just go read it because it's a cool article. I get the rye, the rye spice. I get a little bit of tart. I don't know if that strain is supposed to be super tart, but I know that that is kind of a component of it. But I like this. This is kind of like a saison meets like a mild, or even like an amber, but more like a mild, like an English mild meets a saison. The color isn't too dark.
It's a nice color.
Yeah, and then the Calypso. I'm not 100% sure. I know that hop is not as tropical as it sounds. I believe it's British and it goes into like British barley wine. So it's one of those psych out names where you hear Calypso, you think like tropical fruits and bright, vibrant colors, but I think Calypso is actually a fairly tame.
There's a little more funk coming out of there.
Mashed at 148. Oh, that's the other thing. This strains like to be pushed. This fermented started at 80 and went to 95.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's free rising or if he helped with that, but
maybe he put it by the engine block.
Yeah. As he was driving to his next city.
Yeah.
So 1043 to 1010. He calls it an experiment done with Omega Voss Kvik. Enjoy this Norwegian rye peppercorn farmhouse ale beverage thingy. Cheers.
I do like this.
This was sent to me from his current location in Olympia, Washington, which is where Keith Ciani lives. So I put those two in touch. So they're gonna
wait a minute,
bro out a little bit.
He's from Boston.
He is from Arkansas. Started brewing while in Boston.
Okay.
Has been to maybe 2 cities since then and is now in Olympia.
How come he hasn't been here?
I asked him and he said, in very Minnesota fashion, he said, Minnesota's not on my bucket list.
Whatever.
But maybe after he sees this, he'll come.
Right.
Because that's what I want to do.
It's now on your bucket list.
I was hoping at some point in the next year he'd be in western Wisconsin, Madison, Milwaukee. Like I would go to brew with Will. But
it's not on our bucket list.
It's not on his bucket list. He said he was in North Dakota a year ago. You put North Dakota on?
Right.
Well, his company...
We have better water.
His company put North Dakota on the bucket list.
Jeez.
We'll get him here. Out of these two, I like this one more. I think just because I like those funky flavors. I like throwing things that you cook with. I also think I like the more it tastes more hot fermented, warm fermented stuff. I think I just like what that does. Like that Heatwave Saison I did a couple years ago that fermented like 95. Like I loved it. It's super white and black pepper and zippy lemon zest, even though none went in. So we're gonna put his recipes online, or at least like the basics, and then you can get in touch with him through his Instagram. So this is the granddaddy. He sent this back in May, so I've been sitting on this one. This is the Imperial Coffee Stout with Death Wish coffee and secondary.
Death Wish coffee.
8.9%. Cheers, Will. Thanks for bringing these, or sending them.
Oh, wow. Pow! On your tongue.
I like that because it's a little more on that astringent side. It might even be slightly too astringent, and that could be my own fault for holding it for so long. But I like it. It's that dry kind of roasty part of coffee. It's not the oily, aromatic. It's not super
8.9%
coffee smelling. They're warming up quick because it's like 93 degrees on the porch. It's the third day of fall and 93 degrees. What's going on?
Yeah, heat wave.
So this is Maris Otter.
My favorite.
C80, roasted barley, chocolate, black barley, 90-minute boil, Centennial Nugget, Willamette, dry yeast. 2.5 ounces of crushed whole bean Death Wish coffee.
How many?
Secondary.
2 cups?
2.5 ounces.
2.5. I was going to say 2 cups. Holy buckets.
This is fermented kind of warm too. And he wrote in parentheses unstable, so maybe it was in a situation where he couldn't control it as much. But
yeah, if he would have been in Minnesota, you could control the temp. No.
Work in Minnesota over the winter and log her all you want.
In your car.
I like that too. Knowing what hops in there kind of might explain that too. Maybe it's not astringency I'm getting as much as like it's a firm bitterness.
Yeah, it is. Partnered
with the coffee roast.
I'm starting to get some hop out of there, but that roasted coffee is pow.
A little bit of cherry. I don't want this to turn into one of those uber nerd tasting videos. I'm starting to really get like 13 minutes of a guy talking about one beer. It's just like, oh, and now I get all the things that are on the label. I'm trying to make sure there's no other things I need to shout out. If you guys want to learn more about Will's Brewing, hit him up through Instagram. Seems to be the only way. I guess if you really want to reach out one-on-one, you could probably go to chopandbrew.com or chopandbrew@gmail.com and I'll put you in touch with him. His labels are really cool.
Yeah,
I like the beer. The story blew my mind. Like, there's so many people that are really anal about their systems, and they could only brew at home, and they can only brew with this, this, and this. But this guy's got like everything he needs in a pull-behind tote.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to see that. Maybe we should find out where he's going, and we'll just drive behind him.
I just want to go to Olympia. I'd love to see
I want to go to Olympia.
Keith and the sound and
Yeah.
Will and.
Let's go to Olympia.
All right, we're gonna go try to sit inside a window unit, air conditioner. Next time we do this, it'll probably be a little cooler.
With water?
What do you mean?
Chop for chop?
Chop for chop, brew for brew? Yeah, water.
Water. Oh.
Well, I got
water.
a little bit left. Death Wish coffee. I think it's the most caffeinated coffee in the country, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's their selling point. My wife wants in. I have to let her in.
She's like peeking in the window. Not let her in.
We're gonna start that video. People are gonna be like, "Is this a video about butterflies? What's happening?"
I'm ready.
Okay, scoots just a little to your right. There you go.
Oh, there's a pole in between
Go
my
pack.
legs.
Yeah. Whoa.
There's a pole between my legs.
There's two of them.
Here, lock this door. We're gonna just sit out here.
Lock the door. We're locking Elsa out of the porch. Can't come back in, homies.
That first one's been in bottles since late June. This one, though, yeah.
Did he say when he brewed that one? The lager?
No, the pictures that I can pull up off Instagram and probably show one would say.
Oh.
But I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.